Is it all that with Jack Lukomski? Today on Is It All That with Jack Lukomski, we'll be discussing is high school all that? Now, as you probably know, the high school experience can be super different from person to person. For some people, it can be literally the best time of their entire lives, and for others, it can be the worst. Now, today, me and my co-host Isaac Lee have sat down with two Year 11 high school students to discuss some of their experiences since starting high school.
Hello, I'm Mattia Piccini. I'm a Year 11 student at Nord that undertook this Nord International STEM program.
Hi, I'm Finley Farrow, and I'm a Year 11 at Nord International High School, and I'm currently undertaking Stage 2 Electronics.
Now, the first question I want to ask is, what were your guys' expectations for high school like when you actually started? And then how did these expectations hold up during your first year and even beyond that?
I thought it'd be really, really different. You know, in primary school, like teachers go like, "Oh, this won't slide in high school. You know, you're gonna have to be studying. You know, it's gonna be super busy," and that kind of like builds up your expectation. But then when I got to high school, to be honest, it was kind of just more of the same thing. Like, it's slightly different. You have a bit more freedom, but I'd say it was just more of the same thing. It just like slowly builds up, year over year, but not really just. The jump from year 7 to year 8 wasn't that big.
I would agree. I would say that my primary school teachers definitely overhyped the transition.
Yeah.
I remember our teachers and like school staff talking about like transition day well before we actually had transition day, and them making it seem like it was so important. It's going to be such a big change. And obviously, like, yeah, there are some things that change. Like your friend group is going to change. But overall, it's really not that different. Like, it's still school, you know? You're still there to learn.
Yeah.
Definitely overhyped in primary school, or like what the difference was going to be.
Yeah, and you still have like people, I guess, like wasting time, you know? You kind of have like the bums wasting your time, you know, like arguing with the teacher kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't really
exactly.
change, to be honest.
It's like, it's pretty much the exact same thing as primary school, just scaled up a lot. Like, the class dynamics are the same. The subjects are the same. There's a little bit more flexibility, but still, in general, it's like, it's just, yeah, it's the same thing.
Like, yeah, so even in my year 11 classes, there are still people like making fun of like teachers and like arguing with teachers, and even though it's year 11, that's still kind of a normal thing. It doesn't completely disappear.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting people to take it so seriously,
Like,
and
yeah.
everyone in the classes to be like locked in, like
studying.
always focusing, and I'd be like outpaced, but like no one, like it's kind of the same thing as primary school. No one really like cares that much, you know?
Yeah. Anything to add, guys?
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah, I was pretty neutral moving into high school as I have older cousins that had already undertaken the process, and they all said that it was basically the same thing, just your friend group's going to change, and that's about the only difference.
That's fair. But would you say like your school, you know, sort of helped you? Like, would you say that, because you went to McGill Primary, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that McGill kind of prepared you for like the change?
I don't really think the change was that significant to be prepared for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Like, I don't really know if they prepared me for it, because I feel like the change wasn't really there, because the location was almost the same as well, since McGill was so close to Nord. So the location didn't even change that much, really.
I would say, yeah, that's different for me and Finley, because Trinity Gardens is quite a distance away from Norwood.
Yeah.
And most of the people at McGill went to Nord, so a lot of the cohort were already familiar faces.
Yeah.
So the change was a lot less significant for me.
Finley, what do you think?
I expected there to be a lot more work, because in primary school I didn't have any homework, but
Yeah.
I feel like the workload probably went down up until year 10.
I would agree.
You didn't really have to even do homework if you just did your work in class.
Yeah, I would say I probably had more work in year 7 than year 8,
Yeah,
to be honest. Even in the STEM program, because us three, me, Isaac, Mattia, we all went in the STEM program, right?
Yeah.
I would say even in that, I was expecting it to be harder than it really was.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a lot harder, but there were only maybe a couple weeks in the year where you actually had to do homework because there was an assignment due or a test coming up. I feel like you weren't like constantly studying at all. Like, it was mostly free after school.
It
Yeah.
was really like on and off. I can't lie, cause I feel like even primary school it was like the same thing every week that's going on.
Yeah, like you'd have like your weekly like spelling tests and stuff like that. So it was
Exactly.
like you always had like something to study for because it was weekly.
Yeah, but nah, in high school it's just like you get these big tests that you're
Yeah.
like stressed out for, and then it's like nothing the next week.
After
You know.
that, then you just
Yeah.
yeah.
You have like one
Exactly.
test every 4 weeks. So you spend like the last week before the test studying and then the other 3 learning it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I feel like if like multiple assignments line up, you have to do quite a bit of work for that.
Mm.
You have,
Yeah.
like 4
I
or
mean,
5
yes,
subjects.
assignments usually line up.
That's a big difference from primary school where it's each subject is separate from each other. You have
Yeah.
separate teachers. They don't know what's going on, so it can definitely be a little bit overwhelming to try to try to complete different work at the same time. Like if you have multiple things due.
Yeah.
Okay, next I want to talk about changing friend groups from primary school to high school because that was the main struggle for me, and that was the main thing that I was also worried about coming into high school is that none of my friends were going to Norwood. My best friend was going to Maryville, and then my other really close friends were either going to Maryville or going to Lunga. So I knew people coming into Norwood, and like I was like friends with them, but I wasn't like they weren't my like close friends. So I had to make a completely new friend group. But I would say the STEM program helped me so much because the close friends that I learned, like the close friends that I got to know through the STEM program, we're still friends now. Like that's you guys that I met in year
Yeah.
8. So how are your guys' experiences, and especially Finley, because Finley, you had a different friend group from joining high school to now, right? So how was your experience like when you first started having to make new friends?
I feel like during recess and lunch it was fine because some of my best friends from primary school came to Norwood. But then during Connect and just in class, I didn't really know anyone. So I had to make new friends.
For me, going into high school, like my entire friend group from primary school went into high school, but then I kind of just drifted away from them after a couple terms and then moved towards the STEM friend group more because I was spending more time with them and I wasn't seeing the other group as much, and then eventually I just disconnected from them.
I think that's bound to happen. Like, and that's why, like, looking back on it, I'm not too devastated that my like close friends didn't go to the same high school as me because I know so many people that like they have like best friends. They both come to high school and then they just stop like hanging out with each other. They just go to different friend groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really natural.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with Mattia because I was in the same friend group. I'd say we kind of merged friend groups with like another friend group, and then they had really like different interests, and like some people like split off into different friend groups. So kind of like it really changed. So
Yeah.
I noticed that we both didn't really like fit in anymore. So you kind of just have to move on and find another group.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of merged, and then like some certain people drifted off into like different friend groups, and then like it changes a lot, and it's kind of natural. You just
Yeah.
have to find your spot.
Exactly. You just got to find people that are similar to you and have like similar interests and can get your back. That's also important, is having friends that you can rely on, you know?
Yeah, it's natural.
I feel like in my Connect class, I didn't really have anyone with similar interests with me. They were all kind of bums.
Okay, the next thing that I want to ask you guys is how you guys are dealing with the high school workload now. Because obviously it was a lot more than what we were doing in primary school, and you know, it's sort of increasing every year as we get closer to year 12. So I want to know what your guys' experiences are with like keeping up with the work, staying on top of your homework, and then studying for tests. So let's do Finley first.
I feel like up until about year 10, the workload was pretty easy.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I would just load up like 5 shifts at work a week. But then when I started year 10, I kind of had to drop that down to like 2 or 3. The workload increased quite a bit with like tests quite a lot.
But
I reckon it got easier this year, like compared to all the previous years,
Year
because
10
we
was
got
really
more.
hard.
We got freeze this year, and then last year because we were doing hybrid, so we had stage 1s and year 10s. We didn't have any freeze, so that was probably the biggest workload we had because the assignments were still like stage 1 sized. We didn't have any freeze, and then we also had the year 10 subjects.
Yeah, I'd say the same. to be honest. Year 10, since we had so many year 11 subjects, it was a bit hard to balance, especially the jump up from like year 9.
Yeah.
Next, I want to tackle how we actually started studying properly, because I would say that back in year 8 I didn't know how to study. I just like before each test I kind of didn't really know how to prepare. So I kind of had to teach myself the way of studying. Or like what would be good for me, you know? So what do you guys think?
Yeah, at the start of high school, I don't think I studied before tests,
Not really,
which
yeah.
showed on my report, my grades at the time. And then because of the STEM program, I did have to start studying before tests, which was new to primary school, because I always found specifically maths really easy in primary school, and I didn't really need to study for the tests. And then in high school, I started actually doing the practice tests for homework before the tests
Exactly.
to get a feel for the test.
And I would say it's kind of been building up, because, well, like, my study skills have been building up, because you kind of got to figure out what works for you, like, as a person to remember
Yeah.
it. Because for some people, it's like
Different.
overloading with practice tests. But for me, I just have to make sure that I'm like understanding all the questions, and I'm like, I need to get to a point where if I see a question, I need to know how to answer it.
Yeah.
That's where I struggle, is if I see a question, I don't know how to answer it.
Yeah, specifically in Pure 3's unit of circle geometry, that one was like really difficult because it wasn't really like numbers. It was kind of just like you had to kind of see the solution.
It was abstract.
You had to
Yeah.
like fully understand it.
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
had to fully understand the concepts and just know the solution. And if you didn't see the solution,
Then you just don't get it.
you would stare at it for 20 minutes and not know what to
There's
do.
like no one way to do it. You just
Yeah.
have to understand it really well to even
Yeah.
do it.
To apply it, yeah.
That's definitely where high school sort of teaches you how to study, because you need it, like you need to know how to do it. No one's going to tell you need to do, well, teachers may say this, but like no one's going to say you need to practice these type of questions this many times, then these
Yeah.
questions until you understand it. You got to figure that by yourself.
Yeah.
And if like your grades take a hit in the process, then that's part of the process. You got to know how to like improve that in the future.
Yeah, I do like that system though, where it kind of focuses on understanding rather than just answering questions.
Finley,
Yeah.
what do you think? Because you're doing a lot of tech subjects at the moment, and you always have been, right? You're doing wood tech, electronics. I feel like for those tech subjects, it takes a lot more time than you would expect. So, like, procrastination in a tech subject could be a lot worse.
Yeah, you have to kind of make sure you're doing a certain amount of work every week, because you can't really just do it the week before. You just don't have the time to do it. 'Cause some of the projects would take like 10, 12 weeks of just working on it, and you
Yeah.
just don't have the lesson time to do it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like the work's probably a lot easier than maths though, but it just takes time.
Yeah, I feel like the practical aspect of tech subjects, you can't really procrastinate because otherwise you won't be able to finish it. But like, once you've done the practical aspect, you just have to do like a reflection on it, and that you tend to procrastinate, and you usually can procrastinate that.
That's
Yeah.
something that was pretty bad in me and Matid's creative tech last year.
Yeah.
That's what was...
Like, we finished the physical, and then we just like kind of put off doing the reflection and like the annotations and stuff like that for
Genuinely.
a long time.
Every single tech subject is kind of... I feel like... I don't know if this is the same with you, Finley, but I do the practical really fast because it's fun, and then I procrastinate the theory for so long. During the CAD project this like term
Yeah.
that we've had, I've been stuck on the theory for so long because it's
Yeah.
so unmotivating to
Like,
do.
we finished the actual like CAD drawings and design and model like 2 weeks ago, and neither of us have really touched the PowerPoint of
It's
reflections.
just
Yeah.
I guess the reflections kind of feel pointless almost, because they don't
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
really add anything.
Especially because
Yeah.
like the teacher's been checking up on you throughout the practical, so he already knows like what you've learned more or less or where you've been up to. Yeah, it just turns into like how much can you talk about this question to meet the word count? And it's just like
repeating yourself, I guess.
yeah, and then you end up just repeating yourself with different words,
Yeah.
and it's kind of pointless.
I mean, some tech subjects are worse than others. Like, pretty much the whole of wood tech, all the theory assignments, pretty much pointless.
Yeah, it's just like joints, no?
Yeah, I mean, electronics,
I guess not too.
it's a bit better, but there's still stuff that you don't really need. Like, you obviously need the specifications, what the client wants and all of that. But then you don't really need much of the reflection and last part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, next I want to talk about dealing with extracurriculars at the same time as focusing on school. Now, for me, my extracurriculars coming into high school was I was doing baseball 3 times a week for like 7 hours a week. And then I had saxophone lessons. And then saxophone lessons changed each year depending on how many bands I was in. But usually it was like more than an hour each week. And I would say that kind of definitely took away from my study time. I'm not necessarily mad at it, but I was wondering the other day, if I hadn't done these extracurriculars, what could I have done instead? Like, what skills could I have learned instead? Because obviously, like, my baseball skills now are not very applicable in day-to-day life. Like, if I had gotten a job a year earlier and focused less on these other things, where would I be at? But obviously, hindsight's like terrible. But I was thinking like, how do extracurriculars affect your free time and study time in school?
I think they're good because they give you like a distraction from school, and they're usually fun and you enjoy them, which is why you do them. So it kind of like provides that like relaxation from studying or working or like stress.
Yeah, it takes your mind off it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, because I do volleyball this year, and I've also been doing karate for probably close to 7 years, and I find it just really good for stress, like managing stress, because it takes your mind off of all your schoolwork, your tests, your other problems that you have at the moment.
Exactly.
And you just focus on that sport or that activity.
Because, we have volleyball 3 times a week. 3 times a week. I feel like it just takes literally all of my stresses away. And it's also like something to look forward to. Like, if I know I have volleyball tomorrow, it's like something to look forward to compared to like, I just got a regular day of school tomorrow and then I go home, And it's also like the social aspect as well. It's like extracurriculars can be really good with making new friends and strengthening your friendships as well.
Yeah.
I think everyone should really do extracurriculars. I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be like sport related. It could be like going out and like painting or I don't know, doing anything. But I feel like just getting out there instead of just sitting at home is really good for you.
Because if you don't do them, I feel like you're not going to use that time productively 99% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not really much point. And if like the workload gets busy, you can always just like not go for a week or so and then do that work, that assignment, that test, and then just go back to doing it after that week.
You always got to manage your priorities, of course.
Yeah.
Just a reason to get out of the house is quite nice.
Yeah, exactly. Finley, what do you think? Because what extracurriculars were you doing when you joined high school and what are you doing now?
I was only doing one when I joined high school. I was just doing drama classes. But now I've overloaded myself, I'd say. Because every school night I don't get home till about 8 o'clock. So I don't really have that much time to
Because
do homework.
you have,
What do you have now?
work, volleyball, drama.
Yeah, and that's all.
Yeah, but that's still quite a
That
lot.
up a lot, yeah.
Do you think that's affecting your study time and then like affecting your grades? Or do you think you're on top of it?
It probably is affecting my grades because I usually leave maths to the night before. And so I only have like 2 hours to study before or just lose out on sleep.
Yeah. That's what's killing me at the moment is having to work the night before a math test.
Yeah, and I guess it's a bit difficult to like call off a shift or something like that. Or like on the specific weeks when you have more work, it's a bit difficult to just call off a shift.
Isaac, I know you worked a lot of KFC, but you worked mostly during the holidays. That was like your main period where you worked a lot, right?
Yeah, but I also work decently through the school week. It's a bit, you kind of just have to put up with it, to be honest. Like, I used to work in like the city, so it's like a 40-minute trip there, a 40-minute trip back. So like, it's a lot of time just wasted on traveling, and then you kind of like get home like 9, 10 o'clock, and then since you just work for like 4 or 5 hours and had school just before that, you don't really want to like study. Everyone kind of needs their like own me time, and like, yeah, I guess that that can definitely affect your studies a lot.
You get like demotivated.
Yeah, you're very demotivated just because it's natural. Like everyone needs their own like me time just to like sit down and basically just do nothing.
Decompress.
Yeah.
I started working in primary school, but that was only during the school holidays. But then I started my job at the supermarket 2 years ago.
I think I started in like year 8. I worked at like a restaurant like every Saturday. Yeah, so I've been working for a while. Yeah, sometimes it affects your studies. You just kind of have to put up with it. And then, yeah, I felt like last year especially, I was a bit burnt out because I was like, I worked my entire holidays like 70 hours in 2 weeks. So that's like every day, like 5 hours. So I feel like that affected me a lot.
Yeah.
And it kind of affects going out with friends during the school holidays too.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really hard to make time, but you kind of just have to put up with it, and then eventually you're going to need a break.
However, I do look back, and when I see what I was doing with my spare time in like year 9, I do wish that I had gotten a job earlier.
Yeah.
When I had less going on.
I do think most people should have a job. Like even just like working once a week, some money is better than no money.
I also think it's not necessarily about the money, it's more about like experience.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people in year 12 like lose their jobs, right? Like they quit.
They quit, yeah.
To focus on studying. That kind of makes me think that, well, obviously it's hard to keep on top of your work and keep on top of your school. Obviously it's hard to keep on top of your work and keep on top of your schoolwork at the same time. But I would say it would probably be more valuable if I had started working earlier to get more experience. I feel like that would have been a better use of time.
It's also quite difficult to get a job when you're like
older.
16, 17, because they want people who they can pay minimum wage.
Yeah, well, you're just fighting against the sea of other 16 or 17-year-olds, because like, that's usually the time when most people start getting a job. Like they don't really get a job early. Around 16 to 17, that's when they really start. Everyone starts applying for a job. So you're gonna have to like, you're fighting against like thousands of other people who have like the same work experience, which is none.
And also, if you've worked there for a long time, you can also set your shifts sort of. Like they will listen to you a lot more.
I think once you get a job, you really have to like learn where your priorities are. Like really focus on, because you're like your time is so like slashed in half. You know, you're not gonna have much time to like sit around and do nothing. So you gotta figure out where your priorities are. Like, oh yeah, what matters and what doesn't.
Well, as said before, the workload comes in waves, and I'm not employed, but for the gym, when the workload gets hard, I'll just not go to the gym for that specific time period. Just take a break from it. Because my priority is school.
Yeah, exactly. You got to know where your priorities lay, and it's not the end of the world if you miss a day of the gym, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it a bit hard since I do club volleyball. So it's a bit hard to fit, like, obviously I care a decent amount about like my club games and like doing well, but so it's really hard to fit in like gym time, you know. So I have to like rearrange my schedule and put a lot of effort into like when and where to work out, and then combined with like other things such as family, friends, and whatever. I found it a bit hard to balance.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. You got to know where your priorities lay. Jenny, what about you?
I feel like it's pretty difficult for me to fit gym anywhere. I've only been able to go about 2 times a week because I can't really go before or after work.
You hate going to the gym after work as well?
Like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. And then you won't go with friends if it's 9 o'clock at night. No one else wants to go out.
Yeah.
And it's a bit difficult, like after school, everything's so busy, if you even can go.
Yeah,
It takes a lot longer than it probably should.
especially combining sports like volleyball with the gym it's tough time management wise. It's also tough physically because
Yeah.
we gotta manage like being sore from the gym with
Yeah.
going to volleyball.
Yeah, we're
Like-
still playing our socials games,
Yeah.
Exactly.
school games.
You just gotta figure out what your priorities are, and it's really hard to balance, to be honest.
Yeah. Alright. Finally, I want to talk to you guys about another thing to fit in your schedule, which is driving practice. Now, I have my L's. I have not driven that much. I should probably drive more. I'm not very good at driving. Well, I'm not bad, but like I'm not bad for the amount of that I've practiced. But compared to other people my age who have their P's, I'm definitely not very good. But it's also hard to fit this into your schedule, and it's another thing with priorities where it's like you got to know what's important to you. So where are you guys at with your driving, and why are you at this point with your driving? Like what does it matter to you?
For me, I have my L's. I have a decent amount of hours, but nowhere. I'm not near completing. To be honest, it's a bit hard to fit driving practice in. You got school, work, gym. It's a bit hard to find time on like the weekend to drive for like an hour a bit. So I'd say like the best, I guess, tip I would do is just do it whenever you can. Don't just like slack out on it because you probably cannot find time for it. So for me, my main driving practice is like me from practice to home. So usually when my mum picks me up, I drive us back home. And that gives me like a good like 40 minutes or 20 minutes like driving practice every week. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, for me, genuinely, and it's kind of sad, but my only driving practice, that I've been getting each week is just going to and from work. Finley, what about you?
I just finished the test, but I haven't done any driving at all
Ah.
because I haven't really had time to do any lessons or anything. And there's not really huge motivation for me right yet because I have the bus and my parents can drive me sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done the test. I don't have my L's. It's not really a priority, and also the bus is so cheap, and my house is in an area with so many bus stops. So I have a bus route that takes me anywhere that I'd want to go.
Yeah, that's another reason where it's kind of demotivating, or like
Yeah.
I'm not super motivated to go and do it just because the $10 for 30 days student pass on the Metro card.
It's
pretty
cheaper.
nice.
It's cheaper to catch the bus than to buy petrol for a car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we all live in an area with a lot of bus stops, right? So it's kind of not unnecessary, but it's like not super needed compared to those
Yeah, it's not high on the priority list.
compared to those who don't live near bus stops, like
Yeah.
in the hills. I know other people that I'm close with that they live in the hills and they need their peace so desperately so they can come to and from school when they need.
Yeah, because there are no buses that go to the hills.
Yeah, so it's just you gotta see where your priorities lie.
I feel like it's probably a bit of an investment too because you would want it later when you're 18 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kind of.
And it takes quite a long time.
For me, I want it now just because of like volleyball games and practices. They're like usually like quite far away. Like in like one of the places where I play some of my games is like Rainella or like Mount Lofty, that kind of area. So I don't really want to rely on my parents all the time to drive me there. So and like otherwise I would have to catch a bus, and that's like an hour and a half trip. So that's really time consuming. So for me, I want my license as soon as possible, just for like that independence to go wherever I want.
yeah. I would say for me, getting to and from school is kind of annoying because I have to catch two buses. It would be so much easier if I had a car.
Yeah.
But then once I start going to uni, that's going to be super convenient for me because the bus stop's outside my house. Takes me
Yeah.
straight to the uni. It's one
Yeah.
bus. So I feel like even during uni, my need for a car
Wouldn't be that.
wouldn't
that
be
much.
that high. I still definitely will get a car by the time I start uni. And while we're on that topic, saving money for a car and buying a car is pretty difficult. Even if you have a job,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
because you've got the initial expense of the car, and then you've got the warranty and
And
all the
insurance
fees,
and
the
everything.
petrol.
Yeah, like insurance is a lot.
Yeah,
My mom recently bought a car, so I'm learning a bit about like how much that stuff costs. And it's a lot. You have to get license for like your car, well, not insurance, sorry, insurance for the car, insurance if you hit someone, like for their hospital fees, and then you have to get a separate insurance like for your injuries. Like it's a lot.
It's like a couple thousand
It's a
every
couple
year.
thousand a
And
year.
if you don't drive that much,
Yeah,
it's not worth the expense.
it's also
Yeah.
probably not really worth it if you're going to the uni in the city because the parking's really bad and
Oh,
yeah,
traffic's
it's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
in
You
the
won't
ones
pay
too.
the parking.
And especially if you live near a bus stop, you don't need to worry about parking the car. You don't need to worry about petrol. You don't have to worry about all the insurance.
even more, if you're not working that much, that's pretty much taking all of your money. Or if you're not working a lot of hours and you're in
Yeah.
high school with like high school rates, like if you're like 17, your rates are not going to be as good as an adult.
Yeah.
If you're working at like Macca's or Hungry Jack's, you're not being paid that much. You're being paid like a minimum wage.
So you've got to work a decent amount to keep up with like costs.
Yeah.
Like you would have already had to save up so much money to get a car. Even a bad car is still a decent amount of
Couple
saving.
thousand.
And now all of your money is still going towards your car. Like you need to
Yeah,
think
and
about
then it's
yeah.
a fixed expense every month. You got to
Yeah.
pay this.
You gotta
every
think
year.
about-
You got to pay that.
Yeah,
pros and cons. Is it worth it to have to be dealing with this?
that's fine. I would say like my number one tip for like getting a P is just drive as much as you can.
Yeah, any opportunity that you can
Yeah.
drive, just try.
For me, I was kind of too lazy and I didn't really want to drive because like especially since I'm a new learner, it's like driving is super difficult and like stressful for me. But I kind of wish I'd taken those opportunities instead of just sitting in the car and doing nothing.
Yeah, more talk of procrastination because I agree. I also procrastinated starting it, and it didn't help me at all.
Yeah, just try to get as much hours as you can, and then
'Cause-
eventually it'll become easier. It's just a normal skill, to be honest.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll get good at it, but for now you just gotta try to do it as much as you can.
Just a skill that you got to keep practicing. So that was our general breakdown of how high school life is like, what it's like, fitting everything into your schedule, everything you're trying to do with extracurriculars and gym and work. And I've been really grateful that you guys can come on here and share your opinions. So I just like to say one last thanks to Mattia and Finley for coming on the podcast as guests. And thanks, obviously, to my co-host Isaac Lee for being here and helping me out. And that was Is It All That? Is